Tangier Island, an isolated island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. Almost 1,000 people call this place their home. Nearly all were born here. Nearly all will die here. It's a unique place where the American ethic still lives. At one time or another, you've probably thought about getting away from it all, leaving the rat race, the problems of crime and pollution behind. And if that's the way you feel, there's no better place to come than to Tangier Island. The people of Tangier Island are dependent for their livelihood on the sea, but the sea is their enemy. And by the time the next 100 years pass, this island may be completely covered by water.
I could go around this room this morning and I could ask you, what is the greatest problem in your life, or what are the greatest problems that you see going on Tangier today? And I guarantee you this one thing, though there be 10,000 answers, the only solution is going to be Jesus Christ. Now we may think, is it fair that we are punished for what two people did in the Garden of Eden 6,000 years ago? Is God fair in that? Well, we have to ask the question, what did they do? Well, they sinned. They disobeyed God. And we also have sinned and disobeyed God.
I've been here, it's going on 15 years now. But first and foremost, I'm a commercial crabber. My father was a waterman. My grandfather, great-grandfather, my older son's a waterman, so been in the family quite a while. My name is James Eskridge, but I go by Ooker. It's a nickname. I was born and raised here. Been here 65 years. I love my surroundings, the wildlife around me. My wife says I'm spoiling some of the wildlife. I think God put these things here for us to enjoy, and it'd be sad to go through life and miss it. What we say is God first, family, and friends and community. So we keep it in that order. Everything usually flows pretty smooth. You don't want to get things out of order. Over hundreds of years, the Chesapeake Bay has provided for the island food, the resource, and it's ironic now that it's Chesapeake Bay that's threatening the island to take it away. People said we're going to be climate change refugees and the last generation to live here, but no, we don't go there. I think man gives himself too much credit if he thinks he can control the climate.
That's all it is a bunch of roots. So that dirt just breaks away from it. That's what all of this land is made from. That's why it's washing away so easy. A lot of people say, that God will provide and He will protect us, and mainly our issues, aren't religiously inclined at all. It's mainly to do with environmental issues. I believe a lot of the people who vote, are older people in the church, and they don't like seeking change, and that's why we've got very little in the past. Repetitive action, doesn't always get you what you want. My name is Cameron Evans. I'm 23 years old, and I've lived on Tangier my whole life. I'm always felt like it's up to me in some part to help make the change, help get the island to where it should be rather than dwindling to what it is, currently. I'm newly elected the vice mayor here. I never really saw myself getting too much into politics because you're always going to be hated and you're always going to be loved. But now that I can actually make some changes or some decisions, it's more real than it was before now. Really, my true passion is photography. I like to be able to capture that image for future generations. And it's hard to, bring out new life and destruction. Looking back on it, I definitely wish I had documented it more than I did. And, it's something I'm not going to get back. Something that's going to be lost, lost forever.
This is basically kind of one of the worst case scenarios for the impacts of climate change on an island. I think without major intervention, if the high range scenario comes about, that's what you're looking at. Yeah. Abandoning in 25 years. My name is Dave Schulte. I'm a marine scientist that works with the federal government. Back when I wrote my first study and published it in 2015, the island had lost about 66% of its landmass. Now they're more like 71% rate of land loss. On my first trip up here, we actually were able to walk along a beach that lined the west shore of the island from the south all the way to the north tip. A combination of sea level rise and coastal erosion has actually split the north part of Tangier into two islands where it used to be one.
Reason the community or the island is disappearing is because of erosion, wave action. I'm not just guessing at it. I'm not studying it in a textbook. I see it. North of here on the uppers, we had 5 or 6 other communities. What happened to those communities you don't want to see happen to Tangier? Some of the homes on Tangier were actually moved down from here. The house I grew up in was moved from up here. My childhood home was originally up here. Yeah, this osprey stand here, when I first put it up, I put it like 10 feet from the shoreline inland. And then the erosion, the shoreline reached it, so I had to move it 10 feet in again. And now you can see it's reached it again, so just gives you an idea how fast it's going.
The upwards was small little towns, little settlements, that washed away in the early 1900s. The way we're looking at our, undetermined demise is what they had to go through. Storm after storm, they were living off borrowed time, and it just happened that their time ran out for them. And one day specifically, I remember walking looking for sea glass and arrowheads, and I saw this frame, and I looked down and I looked around and wondering what it was, and at that exact time I saw a body. It was a casket that had been washed out from the graveyard. You could tell it was a woman. You could tell it was a woman by her long hair. I believe I was like 14. I see if we don't get protection, that's how we're gonna see our loved ones washing out to sea. It's something I don't like thinking about, but it's not that far-fetched.
Well, after a very brief lull in the tropics, things are heating up again now.
We do have tropical storm warnings in effect for southeastern portions of the United States, because what we are talking about is widespread heavy rain, flooding, and we are also anticipating the impact of strong winds.
It's going to be a very unusual storm system setup, and it's going to cause a lot of problems, especially in the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, I'll send them with you one day. We think about it when we go to bed. We think about it when we get up, especially when we have a storm. This is hurricane season. Some folks will suggest or say, well, it's going to cost quite a bit of money to protect the island. Why don't you just move off and start over? But that's ridiculous, that kind of talk. I had one politician tell me if you would go along with the sea level rise narrative, you may get help faster. I don't know. I mean, I would be lying to myself and to the community or to everybody else if I went along with sea level rise.
It's not more of a pride thing for me, saying whether it's sea level rise or erosion. We know that we're washing away, and then if we don't get protection, whether sea level rise or coastal erosion takes us away, we're going to be gone either way unless we get the protection. So, left or right, let's move straight forward and get us what we need. A lot of people want to move from their areas just because they hate it, but they'll be able to go back and see where their childhood was, go see their, house. But we might not have that. We might not be that lucky in the future. It's frustrating, it's hard, it's something that, not many people, have to worry about. I mean, we shouldn't have to worry about the issues that we worry about, but it's with living here. Constant sorrow at times.
You, get on the floor. Thank you. That's how I'm gonna do it.
1975, 25 feet. 1976, 31 feet. 1977, 31 feet. 78, 31. And I got news for you. I went over again on Tuesday the 17th. Since the 9th day of January until the 17th day of April, it has eroded already 17 feet.
To stem the erosion, Tangier wants a $3.5 million seawall built along the western shore. Today, Governor Dalton and Senators Warner of Virginia and Mathias of Maryland, who must convince Congress to provide funds for the seawall, came to Tangier to get a first-hand look at the situation.
They have had a very difficult time getting help. I mean, when I read myself about how it took them 30 years to get that seawall, that made me mad. I was like, it took you 30 years? I don't think that the crisis situation that Tangier is in is fully appreciated. The feds tend to steer the money towards where it's most cost effective. And when they do that, all these small towns just fall out of it. And so they're being ignored. And it's a major problem. Tangier is suffering because of that. Unfortunately, the system is rigged against them ever getting help. That's something that I think we need to change.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Is there a storm coming?
Yeah, I think they're getting close. I'm looking at the radar. Yeah, I'm gonna go outside and just check because I have a lot to prepare to do and out to the shanty when they're approaching, so I don't want to go at the last minute. I'll take a look.
They don't have years to debate this in Congress anymore. I mean, the time of debate is over. We need to act now. And there's plenty of small cities and towns all over the place that we need to help. And even if it's helping relocate them, you know, because obviously we can't save everybody. They need help relocating, if that's what the decision is. They are a very special community, and they're part of what makes America unique, the last isolated fishing community. Tangier is an early example of what we're going to be seeing up and down the United States coast. They're a canary in the coal mine. Just a harbinger of things to come, a poster child of worst case scenario.
As long as God wants us here and has work for us to do, we're going to stay here. Nothing can remove us. And if for some reason he's finished with us and doesn't want us here, nobody's going to be able to keep us here. So sort of makes it easier.
With losing the island, a piece of my identity would be taken away. Everything I'm always known and everything that I'd like to see my future consist of, would be gone. I believe that, with the help of our higher ups, a future should be, in the works for us. I'm going to try to do everything it's in my power to, make that more likely than unlikely. It's something that it's home.